You can be a world famous and legendary player in college and not be able to make it in the pros. And that's totally okay. What is going on, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Let's get going. This is Master Football, all things pro football, all things college football, all things video game football. We got Madden coming out on Friday, okay? Might not have any videos then. I'm going to have my preseason update week 4 going on there. But anyways, hit the subscribe button. Those subscriptions, I'm a little short on them. I'm actually doing okay on the watch time, but the subscription, I need a little bit more, okay? The likes, comments, the shares, anything like that, any and all of that, is much appreciated. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to do my best to earn that from you today. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So the other day, I was looking through some cuts because we just had our first set of preseason games. So obviously there was the Hall of Fame game, which means you have an additional preseason game. But for the most part, what happens is that every team now only has 3 preseason games. First week is done. After that, people were typically going to cut down to the 85-man roster. And I was perusing the roster cuts, and I found an interesting name. So here we are on NFL.com, the players cuts tracker. So like you said, yesterday we have to cut down to 85 people. So there's a lot of people who had some cuts there. Going down through here, you see a couple of we got Sirius Chilulu. Mike Bell. What else we got? We got AFC North guys. We got some AFC South guys. Oh, the Jaguars. We got wide receiver Tim Jones, tight end Tim Tebow. Tight end Tim Tebow. Boom. Yes, that Tim Tebow just got cut. Okay. He went ahead and he was playing for the hometown Jacksonville Jaguars, and ultimately they decided to get rid of him. So I thought that today would be a good opportunity for us to pay homage to the great Tim Tebow and what he meant for football. I know a lot of people out there, especially a lot of new football fans, might not remember Tim Tebow. A lot of younger guys, younger gals, younger football fans might not know who he is. So I'm going to run you up on who Tim Tebow is, why he's so famous, why he's such a polarizing figure, and just everything we need to know about how his career started, how it continued, and how it ended. Let's get going. Boom, Tim Tebow, born August 14th, 1987 in Makati, Philippines. As an example, we're coming down here to his early years. So his parents met at the University of Florida, and what happened was in 1985, they moved to the Philippines. They were served as Baptist missionaries. During the Tebow's stay, Pamela contracted amoebic dysentery and fell into a coma. While recovering, she discovered that she was pregnant. The medications used to treat Pamela caused a severe placental eruption. There was a lot of bleeding in there. Doctors expected a stillbirth and recommended an abortion, which is illegal in the Philippines, even in severe cases. The Tebows decided against it. On August 14th, 1987, Pamela gave birth to Tim Tebow in Manila. When Tim was 3 years old, they moved from the Philippines to Jacksonville, Florida. He's very, very much known for his Christian faith, and you're going to see how that kind of reiterates in several different parts here. So he was homeschooled as a high schooler, and there was a rule. Actually, there was an outside the lines report about high school athletes and how some of them can be homeschooled, but then go to certain schools if they need to. So he did that for Nice High School. Bam, you can see Nice High School. So he eventually just got cut from the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can see Nice High School is here down in Ponte Vedra, and he went over here. This is the TIAA Bank Field, literally 24 miles from the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium was where he went to high school. Boom. He decides to accept a scholarship from the University of Florida. He was considering the University of Alabama, but his parents met in Florida. He's like, you know what, got to go with Florida. So eventually what happened with him was 2006 season. He was a supplementary quarterback. They had a quarterback by the name of Chris Leak. Chris Leak was the starter. They went ahead and won the national championship. He was a severe contributor on that team. Had several big plays and things like that. 2007, he was the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You can see, his stats that he set were just nuts. So if you look here, he single game quarterback rushing records, 166 in week 4. He had 20, touchdowns rushing, SEC rushing touchdown record, single game touchdown record of 5 on November 10th. And then he had a combined 55 touchdowns throwing and running. He was the unanimous Heisman Trophy winner. Bam. So 2008 season starts. So he won the national championship his freshman year. His sophomore year, he was the Heisman Trophy winner. His junior year, he takes over, and they start off pretty good, but they take a loss to Ole Miss early in the season, and he gives this speech.
And I just want to say one thing to the fans and everybody in Gator Nation. I'm sorry. Extremely sorry. We were hoping for an undefeated season. That was my goal. Something Florida's never done here. But I promise you one thing. A lot of good will come out of this. You have never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season, and you never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season, and you never see a team play harder than we will the rest of this season. God bless.
That speech was one of the most famous speeches in college sports history. So he comes out and he basically said, "Hey man, you never see anybody work harder. I'm gonna fight. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna work harder than anybody else." And eventually they went on to win the national championship that season. So that puts him at 2 national championship rings. And then ultimately his last season, he comes out and they lose to eventual national champion Alabama in the SEC championship game and taking them out of contention there. But if you look at his resume, he had Heisman Trophy. He has 2 national championship rings. He was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy 3 times. He was All-American several different ways. He was doing fantastic for a college player. Famous for several different things. We're going to go over a couple of those things really quickly. So boom, one of those things that he was actually known for was eventually became to know as the Tim Tebow rule. So if you look here, it says the message is out on eye black in college football and the NFL, basically saying that you can't be putting a whole bunch of stuff on your eye black. Reggie Bush, when he was in Southern California, had a whole bunch of things. He would have 619 where he was from in San Diego, things like that. This was kind of the final straw. It eventually became to be known as the Tim Tebow rule. No writing specifically on your eye black before a game. We have several other things to discuss there too, but we have to get to the NFL really quickly. We want to go ahead and talk about that. So let's get in going about how he transitioned from college football to pro football. Let's see what we got. So Tim Tebow, he played 4 years. So he had a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, 2 national championships, 1 Heisman Trophy, did really well. However, he wasn't the most accurate, pinpoint accurate in terms of the ability to throw the ball. There's a couple of people, NFL analyst Mel Kiper said that he did not have the intangibles to play quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he could be a full-time quarterback. I don't think he could be a quarterback of the future for you. But I do think in 3rd round, maybe the 2nd round, he'll be the same as Pat White, said Kiper. So Pat White was a scrambler from West Virginia, essentially just kind of a guy, kind of a gadget guy, and that's what he thought Tim Tebow would be. Eventually, the Denver Broncos went ahead and picked him 1st round, 25th overall. They actually had traded up with the Baltimore Ravens to make that pick, and then he went ahead and played that season. So did not play very much that season. The next season, though, he would be the much more famous season. So they got off to a 1-3 start behind Kyle Orton, and they decided to pull him and put in Tim Tebow. They had several last game or last second heroics as an example here. So Tebow struggled for 3.5 quarters against the Dolphins, taking 6 sacks, but he rallied from a 15-0 deficit in the last 3 minutes to win the game 18-15 in overtime. The next week, Tebow took 7 sacks in a 45-10 loss. You see that he can win games close, but he got blown out a couple different times. Eventually, he did well enough here to get the Denver Broncos to the playoffs, where he did this in overtime of his first playoff game.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him free to the 30, to the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
Wow. I mean, that is insane, man. You think about that. So 2010, he kind of sat around. 2011, they go 1-3 the first couple of games. He comes in there. He leads the team to the playoffs. In the first playoff game, man, he throws a touchdown pass in overtime, win the game. He's known for that pass. That's one of the, do you remember that pass he had in overtime? Remember that pass he had in overtime, man? That's what he's really, really known for. However, the remainder of his professional career would be mostly downward trajectory. So let's go ahead and review a couple things. So after that season, the Denver Broncos went ahead and signed Peyton Manning, and they traded him to the New York Jets. He did not play much for the New York Jets. He traded that, and then eventually he went to the New England Patriots. Didn't really play with them. He never really made the roster, and then he began his broadcasting career in 2013 on the SEC network. He still sought opportunities to be a quarterback in the NFL, and then he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, ultimately didn't make it there. So Bill Belichick had his hands on him, didn't like him. Chip Kelly, who at least was a good offensive mind, had his hands on him, didn't like him. And then he actually, for a time there, For a time there, he considered 2016. He considered announced that he wanted to play professional baseball. That he was willing to go to his open tryout. The New York Mets signed him. He played there for 4 years, 2016, 17, 18, and 19. And then we're going to go here ahead and see his stats. So we come down here and see his stats. We also played in 2019 as well. So you can see his career stats. Again, this is mostly in AA teams. Eventually, the Syracuse Mets, he was AAA. But if you look here, he batted 194, 220, 230, 273, which is nice, and then 163 in the AAA. So he actually, as a matter of fact, since he was born in the Philippines, he eventually got an invite to go and play for the Philippines national team in the World Baseball Classic. So he got the invite to the World Baseball Classic. However, you notice here that the invite was February 26th, 2020, and right around March and April of 2020, that is when America decided to shut down for the bug pandemic. So Tim Tebow, the last couple of years, he had been kind of doing some certain things, but this last season, he decided he wanted to go play for his old college coach, Urban Meyer, at the University of Florida. So he's going to go play for him for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He goes there. The first line of cuts, he's just like, you know what, hey, here's the deal. I'll give you a chance. The fact that I know you, I'll give you a chance, but your first round of cuts, you got to go, because he just wasn't that accurate. He didn't really have the intangible. He didn't really have the tangibles. No, he had plenty of intangibles. He didn't have the tangibles to play quarterback in the NFL at a rate that anybody wanted. This is in July 12th of 2017. Mark Schlereth, who was an offensive lineman for the Denver Broncos, said, hey, are you sure you're left-handed? He didn't say that directly to him, but basically what he was trying to say was, if you come down here and see what the reference was, he said that, are you sure you're left-handed? He said it was that bad. He was thinking about that as he watched Tim Tebow during practice. So Tim Tebow was not very accurate. In fact, if you look at his pro stats, up here at the top right, his pro stats, his completion percentage was 47.9. His passer rating was 75.3. And that's in a time and age when passing, the rules have never been set in a better way. He had Demaryius Thomas. He had some weapons out there for Denver, but he just didn't have the ability to put the ball where he needed to when he needed to. So, but if you think about the impact of Tim Tebow, I want to make sure we can bring up a couple of things. I mean, everything that Tim Tebow did was huge. Okay, you saw the fact that eye black was taken out. That's a Tim Tebow rule. You saw the documentary about him playing, being a homeschool guy and playing in a regular school. Here's an article about him, how the fact that he was in a focus on the family commercial. It's going to cost him endorsement deals. You saw the fact that every time he prayed during games, he did the Tebowing thing. Everything this guy touched was massive. He was a tall, handsome, Christian, good old American boy who won the Heisman Trophy. Everybody wanted him to be successful in the NFL. I think that it's funny that, you see all these pictures, because this is one of my favorite ones here. So you'll see here that we've got Ryan Mallett, who is a 6'7", tall, strong guy from Arkansas. Tim Tebow, very physically fit guy from Florida. And then Tom Brady, kind of the gangly guy. Tom Brady's arguably the least physically capable out of these three guys, and he's far and away better than all the other two. This is ultimately an homage to Tim Tebow. He's Heisman Trophy winner, world famous, nice guy, honestly, truly a good person, if you really get down to everything that he's done. The issue with him, though, he didn't have the abilities to make it in the NFL. And remember, okay, this is not to say that he wasn't a good person. He wasn't a great athlete. He's a fantastic guy. In fact, I'll go as far to say this. You can be a world famous and legendary player in college and not be able to make it in the pros. And that's totally okay. I want to make sure everybody understands that, okay? There's no Tim Tebow hate, okay? I'm not saying anything that all 32 NFL GMs didn't already say. Listen, you have certain abilities, but ultimately to put you on a roster, we need you to be excellent at things that you're not excellent at. We can't have you on the team. Played baseball for a little bit, did that. Everything you did was news. We had to pay attention no matter what. And I say this, everybody here, more than likely, he's probably going to go back to the SEC network and be a commentator there. But I want to just say this, homage to Tim Tebow, man. You have a legendary career. You've got a beautiful wife. You've got a Heisman Trophy. You've got lots of different things. You got a playoff win. There's lots of people out there who are never going to get that. So you're going to be just fine. You're going to be a legend for years and years to come. Anytime Tim Tebow has a luncheon, zillions of people are going to show up. Anytime Tim Tebow has a fundraiser, zillions of dollars are going to show up. He's going to be just fine, and he's going to do well going on to the next phase of his life. Even if you don't like Tim Tebow, I just want to let you know you have to have respect for him. Even if he wasn't able to make it at the top level of the NFL football or Major League Baseball or anything like that, he is a legend. He will go down. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Let's not get crazy like that. He's a college Hall of Famer for sure. but he is definitely a legendary guy to be remembered. And I look back with kind of a smile on my face, just because I'm like, you know what, dude, the world was better because of Tim Tebow. He was kind of crazy, was a little erratic, but he was a fiery competitor, and he had one of the most interesting football careers I've ever seen. All right, everybody, have yourselves a good Wednesday. Remember, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think about my little homage there to Tim Tebow. But beyond that, everybody, you have yourself a happy and healthy week. I will see you guys on Friday. I'm out.